You were a hoe.
Back in the days.
How long haven't you been a hoe for?
For a little minute. For a little minute.
How long?
Peace and blessings, everybody. It is your girl, Melissa Renee, with FellowMinded.com, with another episode of Her Mind is Beautiful. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this episode, you all. So this episode, I'm sipping on a little Chardonnay. This episode pertains to the topic of talking about the past. This comes off of the brink of me doing a TikTok, and it went like viral, like 93,000 views, and it has like thousands of likes and I don't know how many comments, but it was just a little TikTok that I did, and I'll probably insert it in here so y'all can see it, where I just did a little joke and I was talking about the signs, and there were a lot of mixed reviews on that topic. Now I never thought in a million years that the one video that will go viral would be me speaking on regards to being a hoe, I guess, back in the day. But it happened, and it is what it is. Not it's all in jest, though. I don't feel any way about it. It's just crazy, the things that will go viral versus the things that you strive so hard and push on the daily to try to go viral, and it doesn't. And it's like, this will go viral. But I was reading so many comments. I was reading so many women comments in there, and I wanted to speak on this topic. And I spoke on it a little bit on my TikTok. One of the girls, the women in the chat who was saying, I ain't shame. That's what it is. And I want to tell you, sis, what you got to be ashamed for? Never be ashamed of living, okay? Never be ashamed of living your life. I know there was some in the comments was like, I ain't no hoe, Listen, I want this space to be a judgment-free space for all of my good black sis. Do you understand me? Now, with that being said, okay, because my Mercury is in Aries, okay? We still gonna be honest and be real with one another, okay? We still gonna be honest and real with one another. Don't take it no way. It's just gonna help us all grow. We all want to prevail. We all want to grow, and we all want to progress. So whereas we're not gonna judge, we also gonna say what needs to be said. So however your past was, do not be ashamed of your past, okay? Your past is what shaped you right now. If you have a colorful past, that colorful past made you the vibrant person you are today, okay? So don't be ashamed, and don't allow other people, even some of the women in the comments, like I say, it's no judgment to y'all who was saying, oh, I'm not a hoe. Like, okay, that's great, okay? It's no judgment on y'all. That's good. I'm not wonderful. But recognize that when you're saying that, make sure you're not saying that as a way to say like, oh, I'm not like the rest, or I'm like, no, we all have things. And I don't want any of my beautiful black sisters to feel like they have to be ashamed of their past. That past created who you are right now. I think people tend to forget that the point of growth is having something to grow from. And if you just squeaky clean and everything about you is just perfected to the T, and you have no skeletons in your closet, and you don't have a colorful past and all of these things, great, beautiful. But what are you growing from? What are you learning from? What's helping you to see things from a different perspective? And let's be clear, I'm gonna be real clear with you. If some of y'all was in the comments, I ain't no hoe, because you thought it was gonna be some men that was gonna be, funneling through the comments trying to choose and pick. But I'm gonna tell you who they gonna pick. But really, like, on some real, cheers to y'all. And we're gonna have fun with each other, but we're not gonna judge each other. We're gonna be real with each other, but we're gonna be real for the purpose of love, out of love, to motivate, to help us grow, to help us progress. We're not going to try to critique each other for the purpose of making ourselves feel better or making ourselves feel more important. Like, we've done enough of. Leave that to the. Leave that to them. Leave that to Nancy. Let the Nancy's do that. We don't have to. We could create a sisterhood. You know what I'm saying? Like, to be quite frank with you, like, I speak about my past. I know the things I've done. I have a colorful past. And I have no problem sharing that. I'm not embarrassed or ashamed of that. And I would share it for the purpose of helping any woman or any young lady growing into being a woman out there. So yes, because I don't want you to make the same mistakes I made. I want you to be better. You know, don't be like me, be better. Be better than me. But I do want to try to start seeing more of a sisterhood between us, you know. Let's laugh. Let's have a good time. Let's not judge one another. Let's not make one another feel bad. We have different paths. We come from different lives. We have different values. Yes, that's very true. But as long as your values and your direction and where you're going is all on progression, we might take different routes or different ways, but we all are moving forward. That should be the commonality and the goal, moving forward. And as long as we're moving forward, how we get there doesn't matter. Whether it's colorful or whether it's a little vanilla, you know. I mean, I'm vanilla now. But I wanted to go further in depth because there were mixed reviews. And let me clarify, I did the voiceover based on like, these are the signs who aren't, and I had the list of zodiac signs who are open about their past. Basically, they aren't ashamed of their past and what they did. Like, this is what it is. So it wasn't necessarily saying you're a hoe, like a guarding tool, or a hoe in the sense of soliciting yourself. But it was more to speak on like promiscuity. Like, some people may look at the fact that the number of people you've dealt with or how you've maneuvered or navigated in being single and dealing with other people, may look at that as you being a little loose. And the informal way of them saying, oh, you a hoe. So that was the gist of why I did it. And I just listed like the signs who aren't ashamed of their past. And me, for one, I'm not. I'm very open about my past and who I was and my life and experiences I've had over the course of years, even prior to my husband. Some may even say, if you talk to my husband, I might have been a little too open with him, because it was like we had our own little ups and downs, but it was just like, yeah, it was just certain things that, you know, people hear your past and they start questioning you presently. So I was looking in the comments, and it was a lot of women. It was a mix. I would say, I won't say a lot of women. It was a mix of women who were basically saying like, oh, I'm not a hoe. I ain't never been this, that, and the third. And then it was other women who were like, oh, well, I mean, yeah, I might have been a hoe, but I've changed my life, or so this, that, and the third. And I'm not going to lie, it looked like it was a lot of defensiveness, mixed defensiveness in there. Now, there were some women who just took it like me and was a joke and laughed and had a good time and moved on. But it did make me want to kind of get a perspective and put it out there to say, like, should we keep our past in the past? Like, should that be something you should keep guarded and keep in the past? Me personally, I don't feel like we should, because your past is going to show up regardless of how much you try to hide your past. It's going to show up. And I don't see the need of trying to hide your past or be ashamed of your past. So that's the question I pose. That's the first question I would ask. Like, should you keep certain things about your past in the past? And I've already answered that. And to me personally, like I said, I would say no. I feel like, yes, you don't have to tell everything about yourself to people. There is boundaries. And I do feel like through time and through gaining trust and getting to know someone, you can reveal certain things. You just don't want to tell everything about you to just anyone, because people will use things against you. People will take the information you gave them and weaponize it in a sense. So you want to be careful the things that you speak on, I guess, to different people. Me personally, though, I don't really care. I know who I am, and I know the decisions I've made in my life. So me telling somebody, I don't tell and I learned this a long time ago in my life. I don't tell anyone anything about me that I don't want to be put out there. I just don't, and through the experiences I've had with people, I honestly expect people to take what they want out of things and turn it around or put their own spin with it or spin the narrative over it, because I don't know. I'm in a place right now in my life where I trust people to be people. There are a few people right now in my life that I trust to be genuine and stand up. Very few, like a handful of people, if that. But I expect people to listen to the things that I say or the things that I talk with and take it how they want to take it. Because it's a lot of broken people in this world. It's a lot of broken people in life. And this is what they have come accustomed to. So I don't care what you do with the information that I tell you or I give you. I know the truth. And I don't care how you spread it and what you tell somebody and how you flip it, this, that, and the third. Like an old saying, what you eat don't make me shit. So I could care less. You can take something that you heard from me and twist it around. You could take something that you got from me and spread it to the whole world if you want to. I'm not ashamed of who I am, and I'm not ashamed of my past. And I feel like that is kind of a repellent for people who try to weaponize you with things in your past. Now, the next thing is, like, I guess I'll speak on the fact that why you shouldn't hide your past or keep your past is because you shouldn't be ashamed of your past. Your past is ultimately what helped shape who you are presently. And what you do presently is going to shape who you are in the future. So being ashamed of your past for what? And I saw a lot of women in the comments like, I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed. But it was a level of defensiveness with that, as if somebody said they had to be ashamed. And I'm here to say, like, and I was saying in the comments, actually, why would you be? Why would you be ashamed? You were living your life. You were living. You were moving and operating in who you were at that moment. We all have levels. We all grow. And we all are going to experience things the way we choose to experience things. So why would you be ashamed? No one should be ashamed of anything in their past, because those things happen for a reason. I'm not going to say you shouldn't be like, I didn't like certain actions that I did, or I didn't like the course of actions I took in regards to certain things. You don't have to like it, but that doesn't mean you have to be ashamed of it. Like, I might not like it, but that happened. That was a part of who I was at that moment. But your past doesn't define who you are presently, and it doesn't define who you will be in the future. It's simply just your past, things that happen based on where you were in that moment. And through growth, you will be able to see like, okay, I understand why I move the way I move. Like, I'm gonna be real with you. I had fun in my past. I did. And I'm not gonna take away that it was times that I enjoyed myself and I had fun. Now, doesn't mean that I couldn't enjoy myself in other ways, but in the moment, that's what I knew, that's what I understood, and it was what it was. I learned things about myself, and it helped me kind of administer lessons and understandings that I didn't have. Now, it helped me kind of see like where certain things came from, why I operated the way that I did. Like I'll never be ashamed of my past, but I wasn't always there. So I will say that. I don't want anybody to sit here and be like, oh, like you just like I just was this person who was just like, oh, it is what it is. Like, no, I used to allow myself to make myself feel ashamed and allow other people to make me feel ashamed because people, oh, look how she moving, look at this, look at that. But I feel like live your life. Live your life. Everything happens for a reason, and no one can live your life but you. And the hardest thing, I think the most disappointing thing in life is when you move and operate and try to live for other people's approval. That's the most regretful I think I've ever been in my life, when I've done things according to other people's approval, only to find out that they still talk about you. They still got something to say, and you're never going to meet their expectations because you never are. If you think about it, like if you do things the way that the way that you feel like people will accept you, trust me, that will then become a problem. Oh, she thinks she perfect. Oh, she thinks she don't do nothing wrong. Oh, she wait till something happen in her life, etc., etc. And all to find out these people that you're trying to, model your life for, like they got skeletons in their closet. And trust me, they doing their thing. They just trying to hide it. That's why I say, should you hide your past? I don't see the purpose. I'll say this. When you try to hide your past, when you try to keep things in your past, like secretive and on the low, I feel like that speaks volumes of the fact that you were ashamed of what you did. And maybe instead of trying to hide it, maybe you should be looking at why you feel the need to hide it and why do you feel so ashamed about it. Maybe we need to dig under that and get to the root of, why do I feel so ashamed about the decision that I consciously made during that time? I did it. I made the decision to do whatever it is that I did. And I probably wasn't ashamed at that moment when I did it. I only was ashamed after the fact, after I saw how it made me look or how other people viewed it or whatever the case may be. So I feel like when you try to hide your past, you're just basically saying in so many words that you are ashamed of your past. You are ashamed of the things that you did. I remember being in college and smoking weed. And I remember I had a college friend, and they'll be like, oh, I got to put my glasses on. I can't look high. I want to walk around looking high. And I'm like, but you think people don't know we smoke weed? And in my mind, my mentality is like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't owe nobody around here anything. No, I'm not going to be out here just like, oh, yeah, I smoke weed. But if I did, so what? The whole point is I don't have nothing to prove to anybody. I don't have nothing to gain or prove to anyone. So if I want to smoke weed and you want to be like, oh, she's smoking weed. Yes, I do. And like, so, and maybe I can be at this point in my life because Listen, I've had so many talks and rumors about me go around. Like, it's been so many things that's been said about me, from smoking weed, being a pothead, being a stripper, just so many things. And I feel like, in a sense, those things kind of help me be strong enough to be in the point right now where I don't care what people have to say, because I can't live for anybody but me. And I won't pigeonhole myself or put myself in a box to feel like I have to get the approval of other people who walking around and probably got messier shit in their closet, probably got more skeletons than I do. See what I'm saying? So, nah. But I do feel like when you walk around and you're ashamed of your past, it does stunt your growth, because you're not able to own the fact that that's a part of you. You know what I'm saying? That's who you were. And once you accept that and own that's who you are, you're able then to grow from that. Because once you accept it, like, yeah, I did that, I didn't like that, or I didn't like the way that I moved, and then you can unpack the reasons of why you didn't like the way that you moved. You can unpack the reasons why you moved that way in the first place, to gain a perspective of the decisions and the experience you had in the past that may have affected you presently, and what to do to grow from that so that you can be better in the future. So when you sit around and you don't acknowledge and you don't own your past, not only are you allowing other people to try to weaponize your past against you, but you're also stunting your growth and not allowing yourself to look at your past actions and behaviors to grow from those things. Oh, based off of the number of people I slept with, it determines whether I am of this value or if I'm of that value. And everybody doesn't look at things like that. I don't personally. I don't believe your value is with who you lay with necessarily, how many people you lay with. I think without me going through the things that I went through, I wouldn't be who I am right now. I wouldn't. Like, some people may look at being and having multiple partners and that such, oh, like you're promiscuous, like you're a hoe, whatever they want to call it. But it's some people who look at it like, I'm experienced in life. Everybody doesn't hold the amount of people they deal with as the prize token, or as a place to say, where they place their value. A lot of people don't place their value with how many people they slept with. Some people place their value with how many people they slept with. Your value comes from you and how you look at yourself and how you value yourself. Because based on how you value yourself, that's the way you're going to move. And that's the way you're going to navigate through the world. So I can say my decisions on the type of people I decided to deal with probably said more about how I value myself than how many of them that I dealt with. And that's the thing that people don't want to look at. When you start looking at the people that you dealt with, like, that's why I'm like, ooh, those was, ooh, child, I had some rough stages, huh? Like, I really was not valuing myself. I really must have believed that I could not do better than what I was doing. Like, why again? What made you? To me, that's more telling than how many guys that I dealt with in the past. It's the quality of the people that I dealt with. And trust me, and that doesn't just go for who you deal with sexually or romantically. I believe that goes across the board. That goes with how you've dealt with people in your life, like friendships and acquaintances. Like when you start looking at the totality of the people that you've like encountered, whether it be friendship, romantic partner, sexual partners, and you see these people quality of character is low, that should speak on how you valued yourself. It's like clearly I didn't value myself enough to think that I had to deal with these type of caliber of people. Now at the same time, that just could simply be where you are in your life. You might be right where they are in life. You might not value yourself or see the value in you, so you're around and you attracting people who don't see the value in themselves. So it's just a bunch of low vibrational people that's around each other, and that's okay that's okay as well, because we all grow at different paces and on different levels. We all don't always have it together, and due to our upbringing and the way that we were raised and experiences we've had, we might not come into this world or grow into this world valuing ourselves the way we should. So it's understandable. But getting back to being ashamed of your past stunts your growth, it does. Because owning who you are, owning your past, being honest about your past, being real about your past, it does shape who you are. It allows you to make better choices, and you're less judgmental. Like, you'll find people who like to judge other people and be highly critical of other people. It's a lot of times they don't indulge their past or their past transgressions that they've done. You will hear little about the things that has transpired and the mistakes that they've made in the past. You won't hear them speak about that a lot because they're so judgmental on judging everybody else. They don't want people to judge them. And you'll find people who are more open about their past transgressions, the mistakes they've made in the past, the poor decisions they made in the past. They come off more human. They come off more relatable. They come off way more non-judgmental because they understand. They can see you in them. They can understand that I was once there. So that's why I can look at these young girls who are out here doing what they're doing. I don't have a problem with the mentality that they have or how they feel because they're young women. So them out here like, oh, I'm getting the money, I'm getting the, I'm a, F on him, I'm gonna take your man, he got to spend this on me, like the sexy reds and stuff. Like, I don't really have, they're young, they're being young. My problem be the older women who kind of feed into it, and it's like, nah, that's expected of them. They're young. That's the mentality that they have because they don't know any better. And it's no shade because I was once that young. That's why I can say that. I didn't know any better. But I will say that there were older women around who wasn't promoting and condoning and upholding the things that I did, in a sense, like they would say, like, I see what you're doing, but I'm just letting you know, like, been there, done that. You ain't doing nothing any different, and you ain't about to change the game with what you're doing because it's already been done. So they were there to give the wisdom and the understanding to say, you might not want to go down that road if you know any better. And that's my only thing. I just expect women my age and older, we're supposed to be the mentors in a sense. So, let them have fun. Don't judge them, because we was young doing the same thing, but we shouldn't be there condoning it like, yeah, get all you can get from them, girl. Get that, get this. Like, we should be realistic enough to say, yeah, I mean, that's cool and that's fun. Have fun. Be in the moment. Settle down when you're ready to settle down. But be mindful of the people that you deal with. Be mindful that your choices can be a trickle down effect to your future. Your choices, just be mindful of the choices that you make. Just be mindful of the moves that you make, and understand that some things you can't change once you decide to make those decisions and once you decide to go that way. So understand that, no, you're not going to get that married man to leave his wife. Nah, that's not finna happen. This story has been told over and over again. And if you do, he's going to do the same thing to you. This is just what it is. So I just think as older women, we need to understand they're young, but also be able to give the guidance to allow them to lead them out of that stage when they're ready. Not keep them in that stage forever. And now they the old lady in the club still, trying to be sexy red in their prime. And it's like, okay, girl, that was cool when you was 20, 25, 28 even. Now you 30, you getting up there. We gotta find a way to transition and start thinking about growth and growing. I'm gonna tell you honestly, when I saw some women in the comments like, oh, I ain't no hoe, I ain't no hoe. Immediately the first thought came into my mind is like, oh, you're hiding your past. Because a lot of times, and it's not in every situation, it's not every case, but I do feel like a lot of times people who so loud about trying to make sure that you don't group them out. I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't do stuff like that. I feel like when they say a hit dog will holler, like that's what I got from that. Like a hit dog will holler. Like if it don't apply, let it fly. If this don't apply to you, then why you in the comments? Let it go. Move on. It's nothing for you to comment on. But the fact that you feel compelled to have to say, oh, this is not me, it comes off as a hit dog will holler, because like maybe you hiding your past. Maybe you don't want to be as transparent and open about the decisions and the things you made, because you're quick to judge other people. And you don't want people to judge you because you're judgmental. I remember I was in this Facebook group a long time ago, and it was a speaker, and she was speaking in there. And she made a statement to say, typically people who come up, because I asked her the question, I said, what do you think? Because she was like a counselor. And I said, what do you think are some ways to help someone to be less judgmental? Because I was really working on myself during that time, and I just felt like I was just so judgmental. Like maybe I'm being hard on people, maybe I'm being so judgmental about people, and I was really trying to work on not being that. And she said, typically people who come across judgmental, they come across that way because they're projecting. They see themselves in you, whether they see that you doing something that you're open or being transparent about, something that they obviously have done, and they aren't comfortable being open and transparent about it. So to see you speaking on it, to see you being that way, it makes them feel judged. She was like, people who tend to be judgmental, they judge because they're projecting. It's like they're taking whatever insecurity they have about themselves and putting it on you. So if they judge you based off of the way you dress, it's an insecurity within them that maybe have them feeling like they want to dress like that, but they don't have the courage to or the confidence. So it's kind of like I project my insecurity of me wanting to dress that way, but not having the courage to dress that way. So now I'm going to judge you for dressing that way. I'm going to judge you for acting that way or doing whatever it is that you're doing because I feel insecure that I can't do those things. If y'all understand what I'm saying. And when you don't allow yourself to be burdened with being ashamed of your past, you help people, whether you realize it or not. I know me speaking about a lot of things about me personally, things that I've dealt with, things that I've gone through. I know I help other people because I know people like, whether they have the courage to say it to me, I know people feel like, dang, like I went through the same thing, or I did the same thing, or I felt the same way. And sometimes people feel alone and they feel like they don't have people to relate to them. So when you are open about who you are and your past and the things that you went through, somebody is listening to that. And somebody's like, dang, like, well, if she can get through it, or she can be confident about who she is in her past, if she can be open about her past and not allow it to make her feel like she has to hide who she is and have to be ashamed of it, then I don't have to be ashamed. So you help people whether you realize it or not. You help people and allow them to understand that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to have made poor decisions. It's okay if people see you and don't necessarily care for the decisions or the choices you made in life. It's going to be okay. It's not the end of the world. No one is perfect. We all have our issues and mistakes. Next, I said, how do you own your past? Because I said that previously. I said, I feel like you have to own your past. And some people might say, well, how do you own your past? Like, how do you own your past, accept your past, and don't allow people to weaponize your past against you? Don't even allow yourself to weaponize your past against you. And one thing is, do not feel ashamed. Do not feel ashamed. Simple. What are you feeling ashamed for? We all live. Let's be clear what it is. What's in the Bible? And was it Mary Mag? I can't not hip up to the Bible. So if y'all know the name, y'all can put that down there. But yeah, like she was considered wasn't she considered a whore? A Jezebel? Was she? Or was Jezebel a whole nother name? Whatever the case may be, the point is that we all have a past. And once you understand that your past is there to help you learn the lessons that you need to learn, your past is there to help you break certain cycles, break certain generational curses, so that you can grow in life and expand and become better and grow. Like, that's what is there to be ashamed of? And I guess maybe people might ask, well, how do you not feel ashamed? And I can say, I don't think it's an easy answer to not be ashamed. Like you just wake up and be like, I don't feel ashamed. I just think it's a process. It's a process of being open to yourself about it. Unpacking why you made the decisions that you made. A lot of times when you unpack and understand the choices you made and why you made those choices, it makes you feel more accepting because you understand that you are human. You understand that certain triggers and certain traumas probably probably help bring about certain decisions and habits and whatever the case may be of why you did what you did in your past. But your past doesn't define you. We grow, we change, we evolve. So constantly remember that in your head. How do I not be ashamed of my past? I own my past. How do I own my past? Well, you constantly let yourself you unpack your past. You unpack the decisions and the reasons why you did those things. You gain an understanding. And when I say unpack it, don't just be like, oh, my mom treated me like shit, so that's why I did what I did. Like, you can't just blame, put the blame on everybody else, but you come to understand, like, okay, I might have been raised this way, and being raised this way, I started to feel this way about myself. I lacked the confidence in myself. I lacked the ability to be able to speak up for myself or stand up for myself. I had a lack mentality. I didn't have a mentality that filled me up and poured into me. I had a lack mentality where I could not fill my own cup up. I didn't love myself. Like, unpack it that way. The next thing is, you don't lose value. You gain and you grow. And I feel like that's the most important. It's the last thing too, but it's the most important. Your past, the things you've done in your past, like I said, does not determine your value. It does not alter or change your value to say, oh, you're here, now you're here. Oh, now you're here. Oh, but you did that, now you're back here. No, that's not how it works. Your value comes from you, how you feel about yourself. Because based on how you feel about yourself, how you love yourself, how you view yourself, is the way you're going to maneuver and navigate in life. You're not going to continue to make the same mistakes or be in the same situations or make the same poor decisions if you understand and value yourself, especially knowing that the things that you did in the past does not dictate or determine who you are in the moment, or those things didn't dictate and determine the value of who you were then. That's the very thing. It's the fact that you didn't value yourself is the reason why you probably made those decisions. But once you start valuing yourself, once you start realizing that you are of value, regardless of what anybody says, you maneuvered and you started to grow and you started to gain love for yourself, confidence for yourself, esteem for yourself, and you just started growing leaps and bounds. You probably went back to school, probably got a degree, probably started a business, probably started a charity, started a family, bought a home. Like, you just started to grow and just maneuver. But the only way you're going to grow and maneuver is if you don't allow your past to burden you or make you feel like that determines your value. That don't determine your value. Your value comes from you. No one else. It doesn't come from anybody outside of you. It doesn't come from decisions outside of you. It comes from you. From you. So, with me, I did my little thuggism. And, I might have felt a certain way before, but now I don't care. Yeah, I did it. I did it. Taught me a whole lot of things about myself. Taught me a whole lot of things about other people. Taught me how I want my daughter to love herself, how I want to pour into my daughter so that she don't make the same decisions that I made, and that she doesn't have to go through what I go through to understand the value of who she is. Just because I started here with understanding my worth doesn't mean she got to start here. So with me gaining and understanding my worth, that allows me to pour into her where she could start way more advanced than I did. Feel me? So that's kind of it. I don't really have too much to expand on with that. It's just the fact that, no woman or man for that matter should walk around here feeling burdened by their past as if they have to hide their past or they can't own that. Use that as motivation. Use that to motivate you and push you, and not to prove anything to anybody, but prove it to yourself that, yeah, my past don't determine who I am or who I will be. My past does not put me in a box and say I can't grow or expound from the decisions that I made then. Prove yourself wrong. That's all. That's all I have to say with that. Y'all tell me some things below. Like, how do you feel about it? Do you rather keep your past to yourself? Does your past make you feel ashamed? Do you feel like you have to defend yourself and defend your past to people? Do you just not give a damn? Because you realize, one thing I realized, people will talk about you regardless. People will. If somebody don't like you, they don't like you. That's just what it is. And there ain't nothing you can do to make them change that. Comment below. Make sure you like and subscribe and click that notification bell when you want to see another episode from Her Mind is Beautiful or just some more content from me on YouTube. Make sure you go to bellaminded.com and subscribe there as well. And I will check y'all out on the next time. Thank y'all for tuning in. Peace and blessings.